Well, good morning. Happy Wednesday to you. It is going to be a fantastic day ahead. Probably going to be the nicest day that we'll have for the next week. So make sure to take advantage of it. It was beautiful coming back from my lunch break, coming back to the station, and it's not even the warmest part of the day. So it is going to turn out to be a fantastic day. The big weather story is going to be questionable of cloud cover. We'll talk about that in just a second. But the big weather story yesterday was the fire danger weather, and that still exists for today, but we're sandwiched between two zones of elevated to critical fire danger concerns for the southwestern half of the state of Kansas, and then up to the north in Nebraska and Iowa. Now for us here in northeast Kansas, we are still in the very high category. So burning would still not be recommended, as we do have certainly dry conditions across the area, the warm temperatures, a little bit of a light breeze, nothing too bad, but more importantly, I do expect those relative humidity values by the afternoon to be in the teens to low 20s. So that's the biggest reason for that. And then the fire weather shifts down to the south and southern Kansas and Oklahoma heading into tomorrow. But we have a cold front pushing through tomorrow, so wouldn't do any burning either tomorrow because of the very high fire danger threat for the area. All right, so let's take a look at live storm tracker from Prairie Band Casino and Resort, and it does show that we are clear. No precipitation, and we will continue to stay clear at least for the next couple of hours. But the question mark that we're monitoring is how quickly, if we do get any clouds increase for the day today. The HRRI has been fairly consistent on bringing us some clouds for the afternoon hours and giving us generally mostly cloudy skies for the afternoon, while our other short-term computer model, this is our in-house model, shows a few high clouds up along the Nebraska-Kansas border in the afternoon hours, but still generally mostly sunny. And I'm leaning more towards this version of Supercast compared to the HRRI, but it is certainly something that we'll continue to keep an eye on as we go throughout the day. So temperatures right now are in the upper 40s and low 50s in north central Kansas, mid 50s to low 60s, especially along and south of the Turnpike. And here's a look at Supercast with these temperatures that we'll have. And it's pretty close to what the temperatures are right now, but this Supercast is continuing to warm up into the low to mid 60s for much of the area, upper 60s down to the south. Of course, it is going to be dependent on, if we do get the clouds, how thick they'll be, on whether or not we stay in the low to mid 60s or get up in the mid to upper 60s for the day, but gentle 60s. Likely the nicest day that we'll have for at least a week, so take advantage of it, and then cooling back down for many spots in the mid to upper 40s by 9 p.m. Still going to be a mild night with temperatures staying above freezing, but that's going to be changing heading into tomorrow night. Otherwise, look at wind gusts for today. Gusts near 20 to 25 miles per hour. Models have been consistent on keeping those wind gusts fairly light today. There was a concern that if we did have wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, that a red flag warning would have to be issued for portions of northeast Kansas, but models have stayed under that so far. So I think we're going to be okay from that standpoint, but I cannot completely rule it out. It's still something to monitor, that if a red flag warning gets issued for a portion of northeast Kansas for this afternoon, definitely be cautious of that. Look at the wide range in temperatures tomorrow. 30s and 40s up in our northwestern communities, with 50s and 60s down to the southeast. Now, there's going to be questions on the temperatures for tomorrow too. Extent of cloud cover, how quickly will the cold front push through the area, and well, that'll be something that we'll continue to monitor heading into tomorrow. But as far as wind gusts are concerned, for tomorrow, they will be strong once that cold front pushes into the area. Could be approaching 35 miles per hour. Not to the extent of yesterday's winds, but tomorrow's winds will be a colder wind compared to yesterday's. So it's going to be a little bit more uncomfortable when you combine the colder temperatures compared to yesterday. So here's a look at Supercast. Temperatures in white, wind chills in the blue. 10 a.m. tomorrow, we have temperatures that are still in the 30s in north central Kansas, 40s and 50s for the rest of the area. And as the day progresses, again, we'll be keeping an eye on the cloud cover. One thing we're monitoring is snow up in Nebraska tomorrow. Now, this model does have a little bit of that snow working its way along Nebraska-Kansas border along Highway 36 in the afternoon hours, and then you'll notice that the cooling trend will have during the afternoon as well. So by 4 o'clock, when we would typically reach our afternoon highs, we have many spots from 20s to 40s from northwest to southeast for temperatures and wind chill values, even down in the teens up to the north to 30s and 40s and further down to the south. So we are certainly going to be keeping a very close eye on this. Regardless, please make sure that you have your thick coat with you tomorrow, even if you may not need it at all during the morning or early afternoon hours. Those temperatures start crashing fairly quickly in the late afternoon and early evening hours. It is, you're going to need it. And as we go throughout the rest of the evening hours, temperatures will continue to drop. As we take a look at 9 o'clock, 20s, wind chills in the teens. Quite the change from the mid to upper 60s that many spots will have for today in just a little over 24-hour time span of those drop in temperatures. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Something we're keeping an eye on is the extensive cloud cover tomorrow. I may even put in a slight snow chance in and then mention that that would stay up along the Nebraska-Kansas border. Most models do actually keep it up in Nebraska. That was the only exception of the model that I just showed you for that time frame on Thursday afternoon. Otherwise, Friday, I think we're mostly sunny and a little bit more seasonal, actually technically a little bit below average, low 40s, and we're going to continue that stretch of low to generally mid 40s between Friday through Monday for highs, lows generally in the upper teens and low 20s Thursday night through Sunday night. That's going to be a stretch of almost near seasonal temperatures. And then we'll have another opportunity for some light snow, this time for all of northeast Kansas Friday night. It's not a great chance. You'll notice that between our computer models, the graph is the one that you just saw earlier on Supercast with the temperature and wind chill factor with that snow up along the Nebraska-Kansas border tomorrow afternoon. That's where some of those areas make it in the 1 to 2 inch range with the combination of tomorrow afternoon and Friday night. Otherwise, the rest of northeast Kansas in that trace to 1, if anything at all. It's really not a concern. The bigger impact is going to be those temperatures cooling down considerably compared to where we've been really all month long. That's going to be the bigger impact compared to any possible precipitation. But looking at the extended outlooks, we're in that time frame of 6 to 10, 8 to 14, 3 to 4 week outlook, probability of above normal temperatures. So you did notice in the 8-day forecast for next Tuesday and Wednesday, we have highs back in the 50s and above average. Lows start to get warmer too, so that's where we have that red coming back into the area. And we're kind of right on that edge of probability of above average precipitation too, in both the 6 to 10 and 8 to 14 day time frame. So just a few things that we're monitoring here in the coming days. The general forecast is fairly medium to high in confidence levels on nice today. Cooling temperatures for the afternoon behind tomorrow's cold front, so be ready for that. Have the thicker coat. And then staying on the chillier side Friday through Monday. At least it's mostly sunny for most of that time frame. Yeah, a few clouds possible from time to time, but at least that'll help. So even with any possible accumulating snowfall Friday night, it's going to melt fairly quickly, especially on the roadways on Saturday. And the roadways are fairly warm with how warm it's been so far this month. So it may even take a while for any accumulation to occur on roadways compared to grassy surfaces. But it is occurring at night, so that does lead to maybe some slick spots for those that do get snow for Friday night. So just something to be mindful of if you're going to be out and about Friday night into Saturday morning. And then once that sun comes up and we start warming up, it should improve fairly quickly during the day on Saturday. Otherwise, as I mentioned, we're warming back up Tuesday and Wednesday. Not much with precipitation. In fact, I think the majority of northeast Kansas probably doesn't get any precipitation for the next 8 days. But even if there is precipitation in some spots, either tomorrow afternoon or Friday night, it'll likely be less than 1/10 of an inch total. So not much. We'll continue to keep an eye on it though. Check back in on Midday in Kansas with me and then throughout the rest of the day today and also tomorrow for updates, especially with respect to that cold front and then of course that Friday night snow chance. Have a great day.